Okay, look. We were gone for like a good 2 weeks, I would say, but it hasn't been that great for the Seahawks in the earlier part of those 2 weeks. But this latest game it was really good, really good.
You could hear that you're like almost about to start crying in the middle. You're like, it was we tried our best. We tried our best.
Oh man,
What the fuck happened?
right? Because that's what I have to say. Because I was on the boat and I had to get it. I had to get like the stats from somebody on the boat that actually bought the Wi-Fi package. I was like, yeah, what's the score from the previous Seahawk game? They were like, yeah, here's the one with the Giants, and I was like, oh, what happened? All I know is what happened. And then we were able to see the Seahawks 49ers game on the boat in front of everyone. So that was fun too.
Dude, I that was some of the most abysmal football I've ever seen. But we can get to it. You want to start game by game?
Yeah. I mean,
It might be. It
if
might
we
be.
have,
It's probably gonna be overlap between both those games, to be honest. But
yeah, because I mean, the running theme, haha, see what I did there? The running theme between both of those two games with the Giants and the 49ers was, where was that run defense at?
non-existent.
I believe I can't speak for the Giants game. I do know for the 49ers game, we were still out like Byron Murphy and some other
Leonard
key.
Williams was out a couple of those. I think a game or two too.
Yeah, so I know we had some people out for some of those games and stuff like that. So while on one side we can say, yeah, it's because, our guys were out. That's why we didn't win. But I mean, next man up, and apparently it didn't work out because I'm just looking at the rush yards for the Giants game. Besides the other stuff that happened during that game, which were there was some penalties. The big thing for me is like Geno Smith had to throw a lot, 284 yards, a tutty, but man, we didn't have a run game. But the Giants did. Tracy Jr. had 129 yards on 18 attempts
I think he's a
among
rookie
like
too.
yeah, basically everyone eats on our rushing defense. It gave me a flashback to our defensive woes of then, and I think Coach McDonald also definitely had something to say even after that game, if not definitely after
And
the
mind
next
you,
game.
this is coming off of a Lions game where we gave up like 500 yards. I was expecting, them to come out with a little bit more bite, but I
Yeah,
mean,
420. There you go.
420, that's progress.
It's progress. But yeah, any
Yeah,
thoughts on the Giants game overall?
dude. I mean, I'll say this and then we'll get into it a little bit more. But I think the thing is,
Hmm.
like you touched on run defense, but special teams I think was also an issue. I mean, we've had our issues in the return game, and it's an important part of the important part of the game. Pete Carroll always treated all three phases equally, and it's chess. You gotta have ball position, right? Like if you're, you know, you gotta inch your way towards your end zone sometimes.
Don't
And
we have a Harbaugh as our special teams coach?
yeah, and it's sabotage. I'm convinced.
I got you, bros.
I mean, if we were to
Or
like,
cousins, whichever one. I
yeah, I
think
think
he's
they're
a cousin or a brother, one of the two.
something like that. Jay Harbaugh is his name. So if it's John,
Hmm.
Jim, and Jay, I mean, got really convincing, like
Really
uncreative points.
creative naming. Really,
And
really, really creative
I
naming
mean,
scheme right there.
we always talk about the battle in the trenches too, and even in that Giants game, let me
Hmm.
see. I think we gave up. I don't. It says we gave up 7 sacks. You're not.
Yeah.
Dexter Lawrence had a sack trick on us. Um, Kayvon Thibodeau had a half sack. He was a guy that we were kind of looking out for. But we always talk about the trenches, and
Hmm.
we'll see the kind of football you can get if you are successful in the trenches in this regime. I mean, we'll show some fun that we had against Atlanta in a bit, but you need that foundation, and not only were we not winning that foundation, it was manifesting in other ways. I mean,
Yeah.
we had probably the worst turnover differential stretch I think I've ever seen.
I think it went to what, -8
Yeah,
by the
something
Atlanta game.
ridiculous. Yeah, I think it. I mean, we'll talk about the Niners game as well, but like, let me see how many. Gino didn't have a pick in that game, but I think there was a fumble that I'm not seeing here. Um, but yeah, that I mean, part of that is Gino throwing interceptions, which was a problem and
Yeah,
against the Niners, and
we had a fumble. There was a fumble lost, in the Giants game,
Yeah.
among other stuff. So that was one turnover right there.
And you kind of if you're getting those turnovers, then you kind of overlook it. That's why we talk about turnover differential, because it's a opponent versus you type of situation, right? Um, but yeah, it just what they were just getting manhandled is the only way you can
Hmm.
describe it in words.
And we couldn't even convert. The other part of the turnover thing is the fourth down conversions. There was two fourth downs that we did not convert as well. So that's where the other
Yeah.
turnovers went, and there in those steads. And we were 3 for 11 for third down conversions compared to the Giants 7 for 16. So at
And
least they had some success.
we were coming off a game against the Lions where with a still healthy Aiden Hutchinson, we expected to come out here and ball, but we did nothing of the like.
Oh yeah, I think from the preview I was saying that like it's a winnable. It like in theory I said if this is a winnable game if we don't make any mistakes and can stop the run. And what do we didn't do either of those two things.
Yeah,
We had
I think
mistakes. I'm not sure how much on like the old line because I was on a boat at the time and they didn't show highlights or anything like that on the boat or anything. But I will say that I think that is a game that I think they wish they had back for sure. The Giants game for
we
sure.
talk about it too. Um, I mean, I think during the preview I was dismissive of it, and I mean that's me by shooting myself in the foot. But we talk about these games. It's really hard to win games in the NFL. You got to take every win that you can get. That's what we were saying after the first 3 weeks. We didn't play anybody like completely threatening in the sense like we played an injured Miami, an injured Patriots, and blanking on the other one, but um,
Broncos.
yeah,
They were
Broncos
just up
starting
up and coming Broncos,
up
but
and
they've
coming
been
with a rookie Bo Nix. Like
hmm
we didn't play. I mean, but you had to go out there and win those games. Giants was a game we needed to go out there. We were calling him Danny Pennies, but he they had 257, 2 touchdowns, and 40 yards rushing.
we made
It
him look good because after that he wasn't that great after that
no
game.
no,
So
and I mean
I
Darius
put that
Slayton
up to
just
our defense and our scheming and all that. So I think that's just we had to go back to the drawing board on the defense with that game.
yeah, and all of a sudden we went from one of the best tackling teams to the worst tackling teams. And it's funny because all of the analysis that went into it, players talking about how they get to tackle in practice again and it's showing on the field. I don't know what you're gonna say, what you can say to what we saw in this stretch, but like it was arguably some of the worst tackling as well.
Yeah. I think that's again just a game that we could have back, especially the final score being 29-20. It's one of those where it's like I think there was a lot of points left on the field and could have stopped them at
And
many point instances.
And the last thing that I think we should touch on, and it's not an excuse, it would have sent the game to overtime, but it could, but, it's a woulda, coulda, shoulda moment. The fuck was up with
Hmm.
that, the blocked kick to end it? Like, apparently it's legal. You're not allowed to touch him if you're the one jumping, but if other players touch the long snapper and pin him down, then you can, you can get away with it. I just thought that was some bullshit. I'm not gonna go too
Yeah.
deep into it, but just
It's one of those like they just never came across it till it happened in the
yeah,
game and they had to just make pretty much like a okay, we got to make a decision right here and there, and that was their decision.
yeah. And I
So
mean,
again, because who refs the refs, right?
no one. That's the problem. Let's talk about the Niners game.
That
We
was a
don't
really big
we have to.
game. I know. That was a winnable game. That was the one of the first, and I know we lost how we lost. That was due to mistakes and all that. But in high overview, I saw one again. We got gash in the run. Jordan Mason was doing his thing among other players, but it was a very winnable game, and it was the fact that like if their mistakes weren't made where they were made, because there was even like a touchdown to DK that got called back and stuff. All of that, man, just because of like little mistakes by Tyler Lockett. He was in motion when he shouldn't have been in motion. That would have been a touchdown for DK. We would have been in the game. It would have been like I think 31 to something at the time, and it would have been it would have been a really good game, if not like earlier and stuff like that. Mistakes couldn't stop the run, and man, that was such a. I'm sorry, but that was such a winnable game that I wish we could have back. But at the very least, that was like the first time Seahawks facing the 49ers. We can beat the 49ers. It's not just because of their record where it is today and all that, but like I feel like we can beat the 49ers if we just didn't shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, we gave up like a couple of. I mean, the Niners had 228 yards rushing. You know, and you're not going to win many games if a team is getting that many on you.
That's more than the 175 from Giants previously, but I think that was like a good chunk of that came in like garbage time in my opinion. But even still, that's
I
still
mean,
nasty.
Debo. Like the thing is that like of the total offense. I mean, we didn't even get to Brock Purdy, and that was a problem. You know, when you let Brock Purdy be comfortable, certain quarterbacks, you know, that they can work around the pressure, but you know, certain quarterbacks, like if we would have done the same with Danny Jones, we wouldn't have been in that situation. Same could be said about Brock Purdy, but he was efficient, 18 for 28, 255, 3 tuds, and another 20 yards on the ground. But you know, the big plays are what really shot us in the foot with Isaac Rendo getting a 76-yard run off, Debo getting a 76-yard touchdown towards the end of it. Like, and you know,
Wasn't that because of the missed? Wasn't that like a missed tackle from Julian Love on that play with Debo too, where he was supposed to tackle him right there, but he like it was a full on like whiff, a miss, and I said, you want to have that one back.
And we were getting some no calls towards the end too, but I can't remember because I think I remember Gino just going off and just letting the ref know. But you know, you're not going to win very many games. Otherwise, if you keep everything in front of you against the Niners, then you can come out you can come out with a win on that one. But those big plays killed us. And dude, basically 4 turnovers in that game if you count the muffed kick that should have been a muffed kick, because there was really 2 muffed kicks that were recovered by the Niners. Only one of them
We got a
called.
good call. We got like a call that shouldn't have been called for us. And that even with that, we still couldn't do anything with it.
And
so
they ain't got the 4K cameras like we do, baby. But Gino threw another 2 picks as well too. And I think one of those was DK coming up short on a route in a situation that you could.
Yeah, DK said it was his fault.
He curled instead of cut back, and you know the route got undercut. But yeah,
I say it's a mix of both the DK and Gino in that one. As long as y'all can come in and shake hands and be like, okay, yeah, we both made some mistakes there. Because even Gino made a mistake on another one where it was like, bro, you threw a straight up interception when that could have been like one. A really bad one. And Gino knew it. It's one of those moments where it's like, this is where the mistakes kicked in. Gino having to throw the ball 52 times in this game. I think he was throwing 40 in the Giants game too. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, Gino can get out there and throw 40 or 50 times, but I don't think that works. He's not a Patrick Mahomes where he'll turn that into yards and TDs. So, but man, Kenneth Walker got 32 yards and a touchdown. Charbonnet only had 20 yards, but like Garando and Mason both come. Actually, Mason had to get out. That's why Mason didn't have any more. He had 9 for 73, but then he had to get out due to like, because we were fighting in this game. Injuries on like started racking up like on the 49ers and the Seahawks. But man, when you have 2 like rushers that are like doing 9 or 10 attempts and they're both like cruising into 100 yards a piece, they schemed us out. You can't do anything on that one.
And you know, this game was 23-17 at one point. Like it was within our grasp. I mean, I've been the defense and special teams has kind of been the weakness over the 2-game stretch, but you know, we didn't say it, but defense had 102 return fumble for a touchdown against the Giants. Like that was supposed to be the spark. Like you kill for moments like that. Laviska Shenault had a 97-yard kick return against the Niners, and that was the spark.
And it didn't matter.
But that was the spark. And then Kenneth got the touchdown 8 minutes later. And the problem is that when you don't have the foundation to execute any sort of offense, whether that's drives being cut mostly by drives being cut short or turnovers on special teams. Like you look at the time of possession, the Niners basically had the ball for 8 more minutes. That's nearly half a quarter more of them playing football than we do, right? Like you put it in perspective how it is, and that reflects in the output, and it changes the way you can execute. Like we say that we didn't have a run game, but when you're shooting yourself in the foot early, like we did against the Giants, and then like we did against the Niners, you're immediately in throw situations. We try to do the same thing against other teams, but we're having it done on us.
Yeah, because at that point, man, it's you can't come back from it. Like Deebo Samuel, he was having a good game. I know he had only 3 for 102 yards and a touchdown. I'm not gonna lie, he's on my fantasy team, so I was like, I got something. Like
76 came from one pass, though. That's what I mean. It's just like
yeah, like and it was just I saw it and I said, okay, come on, and all that stuff, man. So I think it's one of those things that and and this is also just for straight for context for some folks out there with these two games we talked about. They went from the Giants to a short week to having the 49ers on a Thursday, and from the Thursday they had like a what you would call a mini bye into the Atlanta game. So in
Let's
a
go.
sense, those
Wait,
two games were
yeah.
back to back, and they needed a break. They need to get together, bring it back, and that's what comes into today's this past week's game.
Yeah, let's talk about the game we actually want to talk about now.
Yep.
All right, Seahawks Atlanta 34 to 14. I don't think we ever were down. I mean, it's the
Mm-mm.
game we needed, man. As fans,
Yep.
as you know, the players needed it. Mike McDonald needed it, something to get the team going right. Like, what'd you see?
I saw on all three fronts. I think like even like I think DK and some other players were talking about it. They had a mini bye week. They had a couple extra days to reset, get back together, and I feel like that's what they had with this game. They came out, they played the Falcons. I mean, don't get it twisted. Bijan Robinson, he
Dijon
is a talent.
Robinson.
Bijan Robinson, but he is a talented individual. And they got him like they basically like they had his number. Uh, Not really had his number, but in terms of like the Falcons said, yeah, we have your number because we're going to keep calling it. He got over 100 yards and a touchdown, but even when it was only a total of 155, so it's less than the last 2 weeks. But that's what comes up with the Seahawks. They came through on the offense, they came through on the defense with the picks and stuff like that.
I
So I
mean,
love to see it.
yeah, and I mean, let's go little by little here. I mean, you called out Bijan Robinson, and I think this speaks to like what happened in that game. Like we were getting run early, and then something just clicked. Maybe everybody just realized, um, hey, we gotta stop these guys from running, or I don't know. But in the first half between Robinson and Algier, 15 carries for a buck 17 and a tud. In the second half, 11 carries for 22 yards. Like those are great numbers. Like yeah, for a defense, maybe that's the situationally, but
That's really good.
yeah, it maybe could have been situation. By that point in the second half, they were already down. Probably three scores. I think. Or no, they were down
How
one
would
score.
you be? How would you be as a head coach where
You got
everything's working in the first half? Like if you're the Falcons, you're running the ball. We got over 117 that first half. You're like, okay, second half, we're gonna do it again. What do you mean we only got a 22 yards total out of our two running backs? Besides now, not including receptions because that's where they had to start throwing the ball more often because a game 17 to 22. Hey, give Coach McDonald and like the defensive coordinators and the coaches over there their credit where credit is due because they came with a halftime adjustment.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you can tell too. I mean, I said that they were down by three scores. I'll take that back. I mean, they came out and scored first in the second half, brought it within
Mm-hmm.
17 to 14, and then that's when the doors started getting blown a little wide open. But we got to give first guy his credit. Or
Mm-hmm.
let's come back over here. I mean, out of the Seahawks, these are the guys that kind of stuck out the most, and we'll go through who each of them, right? So, but Kenneth Walker, 87.7 PFF rating. Julian or Derek Hall at 87.7 as well. DK Metcalf with 80.6. Julian Love 79.1, and Tyler Lockett 77.8. It was a all around good performance. It was a happy birthday performance for Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go through. Let's watch his touchdowns.
Of course.
Brings that same style of offense to the Seattle Seahawks.
Just look at this.
Here's Walker
And
first.
I'm just gonna pause it
And
right there, just for the kids.
is
at
that
home.
DK manhandling some other cornerback again?
Yeah, I think that's AJ Terrell, and then
One-handed.
For the 5.
And he's
To
just
the end zone
he's just like,
on
nope.
his birthday. Kenneth Walker takes it in for
touchdown.
Seahawks.
And this one was my favorite play.
On first down, Smith.
Look at that stretch.
Dives, makes the catch. Spectacular.
K9 heard me when I said Charbonnet had better hands than him. He said, "Okay,
Yeah.
hold my beer."
Yeah, hold my beer. I think that's you don't realize the players you miss until they're back. And I mean, no disrespect to Charbonnet, he couldn't do. He was in a different situation. Offensive line was different. We'll talk a little bit about that. But it's good to have him back.
Of course. And I believe, fun fact, he is one of 8 players to rush and to get a rushing and a reception touchdown on their own birthday
Yeah.
since like what, the 1940s or so. Because the commentators pulled that one out from I don't even know where, so I'll take it though.
That was before pen and paper was invented. They were using feathers back then. And I want to bring up this play too because this was I love Rabel, but let's see let's hear it.
Three-man rush. Gino steps up. He's going to throw the end zone. Got DK. He got it. Touchdown, Seahawks. What a
Such a
bullet
good play.
thrown by Geno Smith.
That was like right before the half.
Yeah. Situationally, like we would.
The goalposts make the reception.
I just
on absolute
that's the voice of my
dime.
childhood, pretty much.
Of course.
But then let me show it at a different angle too, because I think we need to talk
Yeah.
about this play a little bit.
All 22.
Give me one. Yeah, let's take a look, because I think this angle does it better justice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just see pocket presence, and then
Tackles holding out.
and that that is a timing throw. Like you see the ball just get perfectly placed in DK's hands, right in between
Yep.
all the defenders. Like this is what you can expect from this system.
And you're gonna take a hit. You're gonna take a hit too, and DK knows that hit is coming. So
I think
but it's
DK probably lower his shoulder too. You know how head ass
Oh, of
he is.
course.
I bet he's our head ass. And then this last one, let me just round it out here. This is the thing is this is what we can expect with like a Ryan Grubb offense. Right out to JSN, and
Smith and Chigwell looking to throw.
didn't even want to run.
He fires downfield.
Yoink.
Let's call that a perfect high point. Throws into triple coverage. Like,
Triple coverage there, triple coverage even on that touchdown pass from Geno because they had the 2 safeties in a corner, or I think 2 safeties in a corner on him.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop DK, unfortunately. An MCL sprain will, so he is out week to week right now. So 4 for 99 though, 4 for 99 yards and a touchdown from DK. Almost, I wanted him to get that 100 yards, but he was off like 1 yard shy.
that's
But
like
it
a
is what
rounding
it is.
error at that point.
It is what it is on that one. Noah Fant, serviceable. Tyler Lockett, definitely serviceable as always.
Old reliable.
Old reliable. You know, Kenneth Walker got a TD with his two receptions for 24 yards. So I can't complain on that one. Definitely Bijan Robinson had a more productive game
As a
overall. As a runner, and he got 3 for 40 yards from a reception standpoint. So he got over 143 yards total combined for the game. But I think that's one thing that can tell you can run the ball on us, but if we're not letting you score, we're getting the interceptions. Which, oh my God, the 2 interceptions off of Kirk Cousins. I saw the meltdown on the sideline too. Love to see it.
Kirk, you like that, Cousins?
You like that?
He did not. But I think this is. I mean, I was gonna say we're gonna get to this here in a sec, but this is kind of what it's like when you have a foundation where players can be creative. Like you saw JK or JSN do throw the ball down the field to DK.
Mm-hmm.
I think the week prior, or no, I think it was against the Giants. They ran a hook and lateral to JSN, lateraled it back to Charbonnet. That might have been like on a third and really long too. Like they're just pulling out.
We timed it.
Yeah, and they're just
really
pulling things out. And I talk about like the Lions and the Seahawks kind of being similar franchises, and the Lions are running the same kind of things, right? So it's a fun place to be, but you got to have that foundation to run these kind of things, because it's just we're here to be entertained. I mean, it's an entertainment sport, but it's always fun to see. It's a lot more fun to see than your quarterback gets sacked 7 times like we did against the Giants.
Yeah. So, I mean, otherwise, I think a nice complete game from the Seahawks. Can't complain. We got to see Michael Penix Jr. a little bit in the game.
I mean, he didn't have as good of stats as JSN, 1 for 1.
Right.
For 14.
He had just 1 for 1, 14 yards, nothing else. I like how it was just one play where he got to throw the ball. I was like, man, let him air out just a little bit. Because, I mean, it's that type of – I actually just want to see, because I wanted Michael Penix for the Seahawks. But it is what it is. So otherwise, I would love that we had a complete game from all 3 sides of the ball. We started a rookie, our fourth string right tackle in this game too. By the way,
well.
you saw the one, yeah, you saw the little video you showed with the DK Metcalf touchdown right before the half. That was him blocking, and it looks like he was about to lose, but he said, "Nah, I'm gonna still fight." And Gino said, "Don't worry, I can do a little magic myself."
Yeah.
He may not be Russ, but he can get a little shifty in the pocket, especially on that K9 TD throw. So I want more of that. Let's build on that going into the next games. That's all I want.
Yeah. And I mean, if we're going to talk about all phases of play, I think Jason Myers hit a 59-yarder, which I think is the longest in the history of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I love that. And then
either it was longest in the history of Mercedes-Benz, or it was the longest field goal they've seen this season. It might have just been the latter.
I think it was the former, but I could be wrong. But still, 59-yarder. Welcome back.
I'll take it.
Welcome back, Jason Myers.
Welcome back.
Defense also, they clamped things down, only keeping Atlanta to 14. That was a 4-2 team at the time. They weren't. I mean, they were putting up numbers, and so keeping them to 14 was pretty good, especially because during our losing stretch, I think we were on average giving up like 35 points or something like that. Something categorically awful. But then there's this play from two kind of bright young stars on our team. We got Boye Mafe here.
Exhausted, yeah. Third down and 9. Cousins looking, hit, ball comes
And
loose.
then Derek Hall coming in with the scoop.
Seahawks recover.
And then Devin Witherspoon from the cheap seats.
I love Witherspoon. Give me more Everyone is like Witherspoon because you never know. That block right there from Witherspoon is what caused that touchdown, in my opinion.
Do you remember when DK hawked Buda Baker?
Yo, don't get it twisted. We have DK.
That was the difference between a touchdown and that drive ultimately ended in a field goal. Like that was, sometimes you just got to try more than the other team, and that was.
I'm glad Hall. I was gonna say I'm just glad Hall is coming out. He's having a breakout bit of a year. Maffe's been doing good too. I love it when all of those edge players and stuff like that, and linebackers, if they get on the line, oddball linebackers at that, can get some time to play and get some time to just get in there. And this is all without Nwosu. Like Nwosu's still out.
Yeah, unfortunately, he got moved to IR, so we don't know when he'll be back.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. And now DK's he's not on IR, but he's a week to week. And I think we won't get DK back until who we got next? The Rams, and then we have another game and then a bye week. And then we have the Rams, Bills, a bye week. Then we have the 49ers. So, yeah.
Fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Yay.
DK's got a grade 1 sprain is what they said. It's kind of week to week, but week to week it means nothing nowadays because Christian McCaffrey's still technically week to week.
Yeah, with him, I think it's like if he gets on the field and keep running, he's gonna pop one. That's why he stopped when he stopped, which is smart.
Yeah.
So,
and I think DK, it's gonna be the same way. I mean, it's gonna be the JSN show, hopefully. But
Bobo, Jake Bobo time.
Bobo.
Oh man. I got nothing else. But I have nothing else on this game besides congrats Seahawks. You got a win. You broke the losing streak. Now can we do a winning streak now with these next 2 games? Hopefully.
And for that, you're gonna have to tune in to our week 8 preview. All right, that's all from us here at Miss Revs. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you again next time.
Peace.